Good morning, students. A very good morning to you all. In yesterday's class, we did the question answers, NCRT question answers from our lesson birth. Today, we do the MCQ questions from this lesson. Right? So, let me share the screen with you so that you can understand these questions very well. We'll share the answers, right? And understand the MCQ questions. So, let me share it. Yes. I hope you can see the screen clearly. Chapter 7, Birth in Snapshots. Who is the author of birth? When we were doing this lesson in the very first class, I told you every time learn the authors and the poets. So who is the author? Option number 1, A.J. Cronin is the author of this chapter, Birth. J.B. Priestley, Andrew Manson, Edward Page. These names were there in the lesson, but they are not the authors, right? And uh, let us come to the second question. That is, Andrew did his medical practice under the assistance of, Dr. Page, Dr. Morgan, Dr. William, and Dr. Shane. So, option 1, 2, 3, 4. Andrew did his medical practice under the assistance of Dr. Page, who was waiting for Andrew at midnight. Who was waiting for Andrew at midnight? Dr. Edward, Christine, Joe Morgan, or Mrs. Morgan's mother. Right? So here, Joe Morgan was waiting for Andrew at midnight. Right? So, yes. Okay, let us move to the next question. Joe Morgan is the father of the baby who is about to be born. So Joe Morgan was waiting at the, gate. Who was, let me move to the next question. Where did Joe Morgan live? Right? Now, even here, who was waiting? Let me share this third question again, dear students. Who was waiting for Andrew at midnight? This is Mrs. Morgan's mother also was waiting. So even the option can be 3 and 4. Joe has gone to take the doctor. But there was a wait in the entire family, a desperate situation for the doctor. So, right, even Mrs. Morgan's mother was waiting, so we can make it 3 and 4. Where did Joe Morgan live? Joe Morgan lived, which option would go here? I would like to ask you, that is, yes, the third option, number 12, Blena Terrace. Right? Where did Joe Morgan live? Now, so option number 3 is the answer. How does, I'm on question number 5. How does the author describe the bedroom of Joe's house? Well furnished, poorly furnished, dirty, both B and C. Now if we see, how does the author describe the bedroom of Joe's house? Poorly furnished. Okay. Moving on to the sixth question. How has the author described Mrs. Morgan's mother? Wise, grey-haired, in her 70s, and all of the above. Very good, all of the above. Yes. So, next we move. When Andrew approached, Suzanne was accompanied by her mother and Joe, father, a midwife or mother-in-law. When Andrew approached, Suzanne was accompanied by her mother and a midwife. So option number 3 here is the correct answer. Now question number 8, we have discussed this in the class when I was explaining you and we were discussing the situation after situation. When, let me read the question. Don't fret mother, I'll not run away. Why did Andrew say this? To reassure Mrs. Morgan's mother, to fulfill his obligations, to break the silence, or to handle a critical situation well. Option number 1 is the answer. Andrew decided to dash at Joe's house. Question number 9. Andrew decided to stay. Option number 3. Stay at Joe's house. If we see, question number 8 and 9 are interconnected. Right? Don't fret mother, I'll not run away. So Andrew decided actually to stay at Joe's house. While waiting at Joe's house, what did Andrew think about? Question number 10. While waiting at Joe's house, what did Andrew think about? Mrs. Morgan's condition, failed marriages, Christine, the girl whom he loved, and option 4 is both B and C. The answer here is both B and C. Yes. So, option number 4. How was the newborn child? Healthy, lifeless, underweight, or anemic? The newborn child was lifeless. That's why he had to restore to all those methods so that he can revive the respiration process of the newborn child. What dilemma did Dr. Andrew confront? Dilemma means confusion. So whether the child could be saved or not, whether the treatment would be successful, whether to attend the child or the mother, or whether to inform Joe or not. Option number 1, 2, 3 and 4. We are on question number 12. What confusion did Andrew face? Right? So here the answer is in question number 12. We have the answer whether to attend the child or the mother. We have discussed the situation that he was in a confused state that where he should look because both were in a troubled situation. So first he decided to save the mother by giving some injection. We have few lines that he immediately blindly didn't look here and there but took care of the mother who was lying by the side, and so he was in confusion whether to attend the child or the mother. In the dilemma he faced, what did Andrew do? Now, in dilemma, he decided to check upon Suzanne first. That is option number 1. He had a dilemma whether to take care of the child first or the mother because both he had to cater. And in the next move, he actually took care of the mother first. So he checked upon Suzanne first. Now, where had the midwife placed the stillborn child? Option 3, when we were reading the lesson, we discussed this. She had considered the baby as a stillborn child, born dead, and she had placed the child under the bed. What did Andrew conclude from the whiteness of the child? That he was dead, that he suffered from lack of oxygen. We discussed one term, asphyxia, in the lesson. That was lack of oxygen. That he suffered from lack of oxygen. So here we have option number 2. That whiteness actually indicated that the child suffered from lack of oxygen. That he should be taken to hospital. The other options, that Andrew couldn't save him. So here we go with option number 2, that what did Andrew conclude from the whiteness? That the baby suffered from lack of oxygen. Now, question number 16. What did Andrew remember about Samaritan? Now, this was a place he went to volunteer, someone he met there, a treatment he witnessed, and not mentioned in the story. So, this is a treatment he witnessed. Option number 3, and that's why he could recall how to treat this particular case, because our experiences, they teach us how to move further, and he recalled such a case which he had witnessed, and he applied the same. So option number 3, a treatment he witnessed and he did the same. Now, what all things did Andrew use in the treatment? This question: hot and cold water, basins and towels, a blanket, all of the above. So here the answer is all of the above, right? And because this is factual question, like based on facts and remembering from the story and answering. And we all know that he used all these things. How did Andrew try to save the stillborn? Using a special method of respiration, calling Dr. Edward. I would like to ask, did he call his senior, Dr. Edward Page, under whom he was working? No. Taking him to a hospital, giving him blood. Here, the answer is option number 1, using a special method of respiration. I hope these questions will help you a lot in preparing MCQs. They are simple questions, but once you have read the lesson, you can do wonderfully. Okay, moving on to the question number 19. After trying for 15 minutes, Andrew felt, what was the feeling after 15 minutes? Accomplished, hopeful, hopeless, or confident? Was he confident after 15 minutes that he would be able to save the child? No. Was he hopeful that he has accomplished his task? No. The correct answer is option number 3. He was very exhausted as well as hopeless whether he'll be able to save or not. What did Andrew remember in the middle of ongoing treatment? Question number 20. What did Andrew remember in the middle of the ongoing treatment? About his love for Christine, Morgan's family's longing for a child, his time in Samaritan, about his obligation as a doctor. He remembered at the beginning, he remembered Christine, but not in the middle of the treatment. He remembered Morgan's family longing for her child. He remembered very well Morgan's family, how much after 20 years they have been blessed with a baby by Almighty. So he thought of Morgan's family's longing for a child. Option number 2. Let us move to question number 21. Why did the child become slippery in Andrew's hand? Because of atmosphere in the room, because Andrew was losing his focus, because of constant juggling between waters, none of the above. Now, why did the child become slippery? Was this man losing the focus? No. Because of the atmosphere in the room? No. Because of constant juggling between hot water and cold water, lukewarm or warm water and cold water, the method which he applied to restore the child's breath or respiration. So this way, because of constant juggling between waters, option number 3. How long did it take for Andrew's efforts to yield results? 15 minutes, or option number 2, all his efforts went into vain, 1 hour or half an hour? Again a factual question. The option is option number 4, that is half an hour. We all remember that after half an hour, when we were reading the story and the story was being explained to you, we discussed this point that after half an hour he got big success. Right, now moving on to question number 23. What does the author refer to as a miracle? We discussed this also, what miraculous feeling he had while going home. Life getting into the stillborn, Morgan family welcoming a child, Suzanne getting consciousness, none of the above. The correct option is, dear students, life getting into stillborn. Beautiful gift of life that with his medical practices, he is able to save somebody's life, and not just one life, 2 lives he has saved. So life getting into stillborn was a miracle, because Suzanne also he was able to help. But this newborn baby was not heaving any signs. So life getting into the stillborn was the wonderful miracle that not only made his life, but made his day, but also made his life. Established him in Blenheim as a wonderful doctor. We get to know while reading through the story. But her hands were together. I am on question number 24. I hope you can see the screen clearly. But her hands were together. Her lips moved without sound. Who is her? Suzanne, midwife, Mrs. Morgan's mother. Not clear from the story. Who was praying in the end after being blessed in the family by a small baby? So that was Mrs. Morgan's mother. So who is her here? You can make out, but her hands were together. Her lips were without sound. That means she was praying. Question number 25. Why did Andrew get oblivious to all the work he had done in Blenheim? Because he got all hopeless, because he did something extraordinary that night. Let us understand the meaning of the word oblivious. That is, he forgot everything that was happening in his life. I mean to say that whatever he was thinking in the beginning, what anxiety he brought to Morgan's house, but when he's leaving Morgan's house, he's leaving happy because he has a sense of accomplishment. So option number 2 goes here, absolutely correct, because he did something extraordinary that night. Coming to the last question of today's class, we'll continue with some more questions, some more exercises and revisions. During the whole incident, Joe did not enter the house. Why? Because he was superstitious? No. Because he didn't want to disturb? Because he didn't want to see the child? Or because he was anxious? Question number 26, option number 4, because he was very much tensed as a father, he was being blessed after 20 years. And the situation in the family was quite tensed. So he was anxious, right? I hope you have understood these questions. These questions will definitely help you out in preparing your lesson. Few more things can be shared, after how many years, factual questions like Joe and Suzanne blessed with a child. So options 10 years, 1 year, 5 years, 20 years. I said I have already explained that some questions are based on facts which are discussed in the stories, some are based on application, some are based on understanding. So during the whole incident, I would like to share one more question with you. During the whole incident, Joe did not enter the house. Why? Because he was anxious. We have already discussed, I'm sorry. Let's move on to one more question, that is, birth of Suzanne's child was turning point in Dr. Andrew's life. Do you agree? Absolutely. This not only established him as a doctor, but he was self-satisfied. So feeling of accomplishment, self-satisfaction, giving for the society, doing something for the society wonderful. Why is lesson named as birth? So justifying the title, because it was about the birth of a child and it was the birth of a wonderful doctor somewhere, a strong doctor who would serve the society. I hope you'll be able to prepare nicely your lessons. Thank you. We'll continue with some more revisions in the coming classes. God bless you all. Thank you so much.